I mean, we are certainly seeing that, aren't we? Well, look, let's speak right now on the phone, actually, to Alan Cochrane. He's the Scotland editor at the Daily Telegraph and kindly joins us now. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. I mean, it's interesting news today, but were you expecting this, given the dropping of this green pledge by the SNP?
Well, not quite expecting it, but not surprised. But I'm absolutely delighted. In fact, I'm going to see if there's any champagne in the fridge.
Why are you delighted?
Celebrating this. Because the SNP are bad enough, but with the Greens as well, it's an absolute double disaster for Scotland that we've had for the last 3 years. They merge with each other's nuttiness to produce an absolute horrible government that's led Scotland down the garden path.
Well, I've had a lot of the green pledges that I'm certainly opposed to. I think they're completely insane and very bad for the Scottish economy and Scottish jobs. But also, the Greens were very much fully signed up to a lot of the trans ideology and, of course, the hate crime, the new hate law as well. You're
absolutely right, Julia. If you think of every bad policy that's been brought in or mooted in Scotland in the last few years, you can bet your last penny that it's the Greens who've been behind it. They're a disaster. They're a neo-Marxist party who have conned the voters of Scotland into believing they're some kind of save the world bunch. They're not. They're a very left-wing, very badly run, incompetent party who conned the Nats. And Nicola Sturgeon takes the blame. She signed the deal, but it suited her down to the ground to get backing, not just for independence, but for all her daft policies, like on gender reform, on hate crime. All of those you can trace back to Nicola and the Greens. I'm very pleased that they're going.
It is extraordinary, the downfall of the SNP, certainly since Nicola Sturgeon. Well, of course, it definitely started under Nicola Sturgeon, but Humza Yousaf doesn't have a lot of the, the pedigree that she has and the communication ability and the credibility. Is this over for the SNP now? I mean, are we likely to see even a Labour government in Scotland next time round?
Well, sadly, I mean, I'm afraid there's not going to be an election for the Scottish Parliament for another 2 years. So I think one of the reasons for Humza's cowardice, as it's called by the Greens, decision today is that he thinks in 2 years he can persuade the Scottish voters to forget all about the nuttiness that the Greens have forced upon him, and they'll still vote SNP in 26. For goodness sake, please let that not be the case.
It's going to be absolutely fascinating to watch. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Sorry, it was just on the phone, but Alan Cochrane there, Scottish editor for the Daily Telegraph, Philip Ingram. I mean, it is going to be interesting to watch, but we're seeing, seeing what's playing out the SNP. Politics changes so much now, doesn't it? The SNP riding high, Tories riding high, falling down in the polls.
It does, and I think this is where you get local parties who focus on extremist policies rather than looking after the people.
Running services that people want. Yeah, it's an idea, everybody.